So, stats in basketball. You can ask any question you want and have a conclusion in your head, and you can find the answer. You can find something to back up your point. If I wanted to tell you the Boris Diaw's 2014 finals was greater than anything Michael Jordan had ever played, any finals Michael Jordan had ever played, I could probably find some statistic that would back that up. Because I know going into Game 5, he had the highest plus minus ever in finals history. But I'm pretty sure I could find that. And this is another one where I'm after seeing this stat, and I'm like, all right, this is just the dumbest stat, and I got to talk about it. Before we get on to, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are currently going for 22.6k, and right now we are 55 off. We can hit that by the end of the day. That'd be insane. But if you guys are not on Reddit, there is a post here. What to make of the WNBA in net on/off a plus 19 point. What to make of Angel Reese being number 2 in net on/off at 19.3, while the Fever have been better with Clark off the floor. Source number 1 is Bree Jones. And again, stats. So what? The on-off numbers. Elizabeth Williams plus 7.2, Kennedy Carter plus 12, Angel Reese plus 19.3. Which obviously looks very impressive. Which looks very, very impressive. But you have to take a look at what specific games these have came in. If you know anything about Chicago Sky, the Chicago Sky don't win very many games by a lot of points, and they don't lose very many games by a lot of points. So if you have seen, there is one very, very specific game that I think very much skewed. There are a couple of games that have really skewed in the plus minus, like where their plus minuses are in the 20s. So for Angel Reese, there was I think it was the Storm. Was the Storm game? I need to just check. There was a couple of games where she really just absolutely killed it and was in the plus 20s and plus minus. So again, plus minus can make sense sometimes, and other times you're like, your overall plus minus can be a case of just blitzing bad teams. So I think it was this first Storm game where they won, where plus minus wise, Angel Reese, I'm just taking a look right now, was plus, no, she's only plus 7. There was a game where Angel Reese was like plus 20. I can't remember what game that was. But there was the Wings game, the Dallas Wings game, where Angel Reese is plus 17. So there are a lot of these games where she's plus quite high, and then her team kind of goes on runs without her. And I will say they're so much better when she's on the floor than not on the floor. They're definitely better than this season when Angel Reese is better on the floor and off the floor. And I don't think it's necessarily like the team being 19 points, like better when she's off the floor. But I mean, I said it here in the comments. It's like when someone plays 35 minutes a night, like both of them tend to do, the sample size of them being off the floor, like the sample size is too small. Just like with Caitlin Clark. Like Caitlin Clark plays every minute of a game. Like she could play 38 minutes in a game. And for example, if in 1 minute and a half, her team goes plus 2 and she plays 38 minutes and she as a whole is plus, let me just think, if she as a whole is plus, what's 30 by 1? If she plays 39 minutes, 39 by 2 is like plus 78. If she's not plus 78, if her team is plus 2 when she is off the floor in that 1 minute, she needs to be plus 78 to make up for it, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. Like per minute. Like it's off the court plus per 100 possessions. So it's per 100 possessions. So they both play so much that again, if Angel Reese plays 35 minutes and in the 5 minutes she's off, they're minus 4. And when she's on the floor, she's plus like 3. If she's plus 3, then there's like a big 20-point gap. There's too small of a sample size. It's too small of a sample size. Like literally, it is so small of a sample size that when they're off the floor, a plus 2 swing drastically changes everything. Like as I've said again, if Caitlin Clark is plus 70, if she plays 39 minutes, they win by 78 points. Let's say they win by 70 points, and she is plus 68. And through that game. She's plus 68, but she is subbed off for one possession. And in that one possession, her team gets a stop and they get a score. Then technically, they've been better with her off the floor than on the floor. Technically, they've been better with her off the floor than on the floor. She could have had 100 points in a game. They could be up again by 68 points. But if she's off for one offense and one defensive possession, and they miss and score, per 100 possessions, technically, she's worse. And that's what happens when you have too small of a sample size. And that is the problem when it comes to certain net ratings. Like, you can't look at on-off numbers when players play every minute of a game. It's like people are like, oh, LeBron's value over replacement player is like the greatest in NBA history, or Jokic's is. I was like, yeah, of course Jokic's is. His team doesn't have a backup center. Like, it's like, genuinely, the Denver Nuggets screwing up by not having a backup center meant that Jokic's or his on-off numbers are so large. Like, and then you've seen, like, I remember people using it against Stephen Curry. It's like, so you're punishing a player because their GM drafted a good bench and their on-off numbers aren't that different because the bench is good. Like, the only thing that this shows is that, one, again, the Sky's bench sucks, which everybody knows the Sky's bench absolutely sucks. That's all it shows, is the Sky's bench sucks. She plays nearly every minute of the game. She's had multiple 40-minute games, so is Clark. Like, when the sample size is tiny, there is absolutely just no way. Like, Caitlin Clark has been off for 13 quarters of basketball this season. And considering the fact that a couple of them have been her just being sat in blowouts, sat in games where they're down 50. And again, like, there was the game, I can't remember, the Liberty game. There was a Liberty game where she gets subbed off down 40. They go down 50. And then the Liberty bring on their scrubs at the end of the bench, stop playing basketball, and they pull it back to 36. So, like, that ends up meaning suddenly the bench players are like plus, whatever, 10, and Caitlin Clark's minus 30. So it's a huge skew. But the reality is that both of these teams are significantly better with them on the floor. That's genuinely it. They are both the Fever and the Sky are significantly better with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark on the floor. But these numbers, you can literally make numbers say whatever you want. If you want to prove anything, like, I'm pretty sure you can go by the numbers and try to prove Caitlin Clark is the greatest player or his best player in the WNBA right now, which she's not. AJ Wilson is. But you can go by numbers and try to prove that. You can prove that. You could probably also try to find some stats to show that Caitlin Clark is the 8th best player on her own team. There's definitely some advanced analytic that probably tells you that Grace Berger is better than Caitlin Clark. Like, do you not remember there was the post on Twitter, someone making like a big post saying that like the stats actually say Erica Wheeler is better than Caitlin Clark? It's like, no, you can literally make stats say whatever the hell you want them to say. And this is another case of that.